What's up, YouTube? Koi kicks by the indoor pond, and as you can see, it's getting a little bit murky now. Been a few days now since the Karashigoi jumped over here onto here and passed away. So the last week or so, it's been a little bit nervy. Every time I come in, I'm biting my gum and like cringing and expecting to see something here dead, but fingers crossed, so far so good. To report, I have been getting about 3 days ago now, and crikey was I getting quite a bit of flashing, and I kind of linked it to feeding, because when I was feeding, they seemed to start flashing, not just one but quite a few of them, which is a bit unusual behaviour. But obviously it's a new pool. Now I moved fish from this one and my main pond, and obviously this 500 litre grow on which was there. So they, when I dismantled, they went into there, so there's a few fish in there, and then between this and the pond I took out fish which I wanted to have in this one, including the Karashigoi that jumped, which was in here because this was getting too small for it. There's 3 fish in there, but there is 7 including the 2 goldfish in here. Nothing massive, or probably 45 is probably the biggest one in there. So yeah, get some flashing. So check the nitrite. I've got a little setup now here with a shelf which is fabulous. I've managed to get my, going off subject a bit, my microscope is now set up, ready to go. I've just got a bag that I'll shove over it just to protect it from dust and stuff. My test kit's out. I bought a new pen which measures TDS, EC, pH, salt, specific gravity and ORP. I bought myself a new thermometer, infrared one, because the other one packed up. Got me scales out, little mini scales. These are brilliant, these ones. Absolutely excellent. What you got to do is make sure that they're completely flat though, otherwise you get fluctuations and skipping your readings. So yeah, that's for measuring stuff out. So anyway, back to this, because I will come to that. Check nitrite completely clear. Ammonia on the Anna checker was coming out at 0.27, but then you have to convert it to ppm, and it made it 0.27. If you times it by 1.214, something like that, and then it gives you in ppm. And in ppm I think it was about 0.3, say 0.3, which is not a lot. Now I've managed to get this out now, because this is quite a lot of koi keepers have got this, and I give the plug to Sid at Manky Sankey, who is into water scientifically and stuff like that, and ammonia and pH and all that. So you know, and this is a complete guide to ammonia and the relationship with pH and allowances. That you don't want ammonia in your pond, but there will be a level of ammonia. But what you don't want to do with systems, you don't want the free ammonia to exceed 0.02 milligrams a litre. Now this just simplifies everything, because it's just a chart. So what you've got to get your head around is, if your filter's crashed, if you've got a new pond, you've got new pond syndrome, or there's a change or things like that, revert to this chart and you can allow a permissible amount of total ammonia, okay, to ensure that free ammonia does not exceed 0.02. So for example, I can't remember now, but I think so say if my pH is 7.4. You take the temperature of your pond, say if it's at 18 degrees C, which it probably is now, if my pH was 7.4, the permissible amount will be 2.38. So if my reading is 0.3, I'm well below. So what that means is, yes, there's ammonia in the pond, but it shouldn't be toxic to the fish because of the pH and the relationship with the temperature. Now, if you go and change it and you up the pH because you lob a load of bicarb in, bump, 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 and then it goes up to say the maximum. Once you start putting bicarb in, you'll find that once it reaches a maximum amount, you can keep putting it in and the pH won't go above 8.4. So assume you do that and your temperature is still 18. If you come here, the permissible amount is 0.3. So then I have made it toxic by putting in a load of bicarb. I've made it toxic to fish, as you can see, just by changing the pH. 0.26. So assuming I've done that and now my pH is now 8.4, my permissible amount is 0.26, and if I were getting a reading of 0.3 ppm, I've made it toxic. Now you could manipulate and reduce your pH, but mine should be around here. So let's just, this is in distilled water. So let's pop this on and we'll have a look, shall we? So yeah, I'll just focus on the pond while this is down here. Just give this just in my pond, just swiveling. I'll just hold it still now, see what we get. So yeah, I've been getting a lot of flashing. I think it was Sunday. It's now Wednesday. It was Sunday. I was getting a hell of a lot of flashing. Tied it in with feeding, and then I kind of thought, well, the feeding's finished now, and it was a few hours later, so I kept popping in, and there was a hell of a lot of flashing. Anyway, I did put chloramine T in, because what happened was, because of the flashing, there's a shower just under there. Look, the black and white one there, it's got a red edge spot. That one, and that came out of my main pond. There's been no flashing in there at all, so none of these fish has shown flashing until they've gone in this pool, in this new setup. There it is there, it's got a red mark, it's got a bit red on the side. That's the only one showing any significant red on it. So yeah, I thought, well, that's a bit weird. So anyway, I know what you're probably shouting at now, parasites, parasites, parasites. Well, I'll get on to that. But because one's just flashed, that one, that shower now, look, just flashed. Just rubbed on the tube down there, the air tube. So they was doing it a lot, and I mean, the Achiba, which is going to come through here in a minute, which I've had out, where is it? There now. That Achiba, that was going at it. But that shower there, that was the one. That was just coming round, flash, round, flash, round, flash. I could not believe the amount of flashing it was doing. So that one was properly irritated. So anyway, cutting a long story short, because it was getting an irritation, I thought put some chloramine T in. So that's what I did. So anyway, they really did start doing some, they did seem more irritable, and I've never had that before when I've used chloramine T. So I thought, well, is the chloramine T making them worse? So anyway, put some clay in, because the water was a bit, you know, looked a bit too new and clean. So I whacked some Secret Breeders Secret in on Sunday night, or no, it might be Monday. Turn the UV off, so just left it for a couple of days. It's obviously gone murky now, so it's getting a bit more earthy now, if you want to call it that, a bit more pond-like. The side walls are going green, you know, it's getting a bit more, yeah, pondy, if you want to call it that. And I put the Secret Breeders Secret in because it was very clear in here, as you can see on my previous videos, and I thought being a bit cloudy will make them less skittish, less stressed, etc, etc. So anyway, back to this in a minute. So I've just kept an eye on them. Turned my UV off for a couple of days, kept my eye on them. Not panicked, not bug any, thrown any, you know, real like Learnex Pro or Parasite or, you know, anything like that. Chloramine T, purely to aid the red itching on the skin. With a couple of them on that on the shower, and then to try and maybe settle them down for preventative, and then the same thing with Breeder's Secret clay. And I've got to say, I left them for a day. The next day they've not been as bad, and I've hardly seen any flashing. I think I've seen one, and I've been in here a couple of hours. When I was the other day, I was literally sat here on this chair I've now put in, just to sit and watch them and enjoy them. They were just, I was sat there at this angle, and they were just going around in circles, flashing up and down here. It was just unbelievable. They were literally jumping, you know, like not jumping out and in the water, but just literally circling, flash, circling, flash. So they do seem a lot more settled now. I've changed the outlet. I'm pointing it up. I did try and put in a Koi wholesale. I seen a video of so they use a spray bar on the return. Now I made one with slits in a pipe and angled it up, and I love the actual disturbance on the top of the water, but what I noticed, the actual spray wasn't consistent enough for me in this size pond. I was getting spraying of water up here at an angle, then it'd change. So it might have been the spray bar that I did. The slits were probably too big, so I took it out because I was worried that the spray of water would go over the pond, or, you know, change direction, and then before you know it, you could actually empty your pond. So for me, because it's a circle, it didn't quite work. I may try it again, but anyway, I've changed the direction of the TPR because I like the surface area, the disturbance there, and the fish absolutely loved it. You can imagine if they were itching, they were flying through it, they were loving it. And it's got a bit more of a random effect now on the pond, whereas before, when it was pointing down under the floor, towards the floor, there was typically a circle. As you can see now, it's a little bit more random, so it's pointing up to an angle a bit here towards the surface, get a lovely disturbance there, and it comes over, and it does come round. Look, you can see the bubbles, but not as much. So it's, and I've managed now to up the actual wattage to a third, so there's more turnover. So let's put this on now. It's gone off because it's got a timer on it. Right, so as I said, should be about 7.4, I think it was 7.3 actually, 7.39 the other day. So that's settled. 7.33. You've got to take this a little bit of a pinch of salt, I've got to say. I've had a lot of experience with pH meters, expensive ones, cheap ones, and they all seem to fail in the end. They're very sensitive instruments, very sensitive instruments. Now I bought this one because there's been a lot of talk lately, the last few months, and because I've used PP in the past, I know that the best way to use PP is by measuring the redox, the AWP, because if you do it by just measuring out the actual PP, because of the dissolved organics in the water, it can quickly deplete your PP treatment. So what you should do is use one of these, and I don't know what the exact measurement is, but you should keep the PP to a certain amount on a redox retin, the ORP. So I've not PP'd for a couple of years now. But anyway, that's 7.3, that's settled down. Temperature's 8.2, so we'll have a look at that in a minute. But if you're just out of interest, those are interested, just to go through my readings of this new pond and get my fingers right without dropping it. So press that. Hang on. So that is PCB. I won't worry about that one. that is MV, and MV is the ORP. So my reading is 252. Now you know what, that's gone up since I put the clay in and since the water is maturing, because this, when I first got this, I've only had this a day, this reading in this pond was so low. I've not looked at what these readings kind of mean, whether, you know, really low is good or bad, or really high is, you know, what is a good reading. So I've got to do a bit of research into that ORP and that side of things. But like I say, I bought this because I've got a pH pen, but they fail, so this does pH as well as temperature and that, and also it does specific gravity, so I can use it on my fish tank, my reef tank. But yeah, I've got to take it with a bit of a pinch of salt. They are not exact, so don't think they are. Anyone that claims that they do, then they're lying and don't know a lot about these pens. So take them as a general terms. So 248 redox ORP. That's microsiemens. US stroke CM is microsiemens. That's basically testing the total dissolved solids in microsiemens. Microsiemens is the more accurate reading by far. ppm is a conversion. So if you get one with microsiemens, it'll give you a more accurate reading. So if it's ppm 272, so that's exactly the same as microsiemens, but it's a conversion to get ppm. So you can actually convert microsiemens if you've only got microsiemens to ppm. That's the salt reading, apparently 280 ppm. There is salt in this at 0.02. It's not a lot, and that's what it's picking up. And then specific gravity is saying it's 1,000, but I don't think that's not true, because specific gravity on a reef tank is 1.0225 you want. So I think that's 1,000, but it's not really getting a reading. And then pH again. So this one cost me about 30 quid off Amazon. And can you see the difference with what you can get? That's saying now, look, let's just see there again, 7.5. Let's hold it still, because what can affect these as well is micro bubbles. See the one at the top right there, the big orb, that's the sensor for pH. They're really sensitive. It's dropping now, look. Let me hold it still. So what I do tend to do, instead of standing here with it in my hand, I normally have like a beaker or something like that, and I get a cup of water and just stand it in it. Stand it in the cup and the beaker and take a reading that way. So depending how long you want to stand here for, I normally, you normally see a trend. Like I say, don't be obsessed about, oh, it's 7.41. Oh, it's still going down, and stand here. You'll forget about the 0.1 at the end, just think about the 7.4. And when it becomes stable, you're about there, that's your reading. So before, look, it's going down again, look, 7.38. So you could say you're between 7.3 and 7.4. So I'm going to say I'm 7.3, but I'm closer to 7.4, look, but it's 0.38. So round it up to a 4, you could say 7.4, I'm closer to that at the minute, but it could wait a bit longer. 7.33, 7.7, look, when you shake it, it disturbs it a bit. 7.37, so I'm going to say 7.4 in my mind, and then I'm going to give it a clean in the distilled water. So 7.4, like I said, that's what it was the other day, and that's what reading I get with this one as well. I've got this one. which calibrated to a solution. So 7.4 temperature, we'll use this gun. Now this has got an E value. Now this value, everything, when you measure with radiation, materials have a radiation factor. Now 0.95 is, I think that's the factor for like concrete. There is a chart, so this has got the, instead of just giving you a temperature, you can be more exacting. So I know that water is a factor of 9.3. You can change it. Oh, hang on. So that's just the parameters, -50 to 300 degrees. And then that, I can change that temporarily to 0.93. Now that's the value for water. Now this will give me a more accurate reading if you do that. 19.4. Now what I have noticed, because I've tried its default of 0.95 to 0.93, is basically 0.3 of a difference. So I could just leave it on 0.95 and just take 0.3 off all the time. That's not a massive, and that's, you know, is that feature really worth that 0.3 of an accuracy? I suppose it takes off the inaccuracies, because I think the inaccuracies in these devices are about 0.3. So say 19. This is saying it's 19 degrees. 19. I've got one of these as well. You can cross-reference. These are the same, 18.7, 18.8. So yeah, they're about 19. So we can safely say that pond water is about 19, and we've got a pH of 7.4. 7.4, 18, 19. So the higher the temperature, look, the lower the value as well, the lower the permissible amount. So 7.4, I'm going to say 18 degrees, or you could say 20, because then your value is lower, but anyway, it's within the amount. So my ammonia was 0.3 ppm, so the water's not toxic to the fish, even though there's ammonia in this setup. So there you go. So on top of that, I'm going to, I've done scrapes, I've got slide there, and I've got a slide there. That was with one fish. That was the Achiba, and there's absolutely nothing on these slides at all, which I've got to say really surprised me, to be honest with you. I'm not going to be able to get this, I don't think. You can get it about. No, sorry, you're going to have to take my word for it. So yeah, and I've scraped, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there's 9 koi. There's 9 koi and 2 goldfish. So 3, 6, 9. I've scraped 3, and I've done 3. Basically, what I do is, what I often do is put 3 samples to 1 big slide. So I will divide up by 3, 1, 2, 3, with 3 of these covers on top on each slide per fish. So I've done basically 9 samples on the 3 fish. So that is a third tested, and I couldn't find anything, nothing at all. I start off on the lowest, 0.10, 0.10, and then I go up to 10 times. So on 0.10 you can actually find fluke with that very easy, so easy fluke is to find out. So I normally put it on that, do the parameters of the slide, I go around the edge, and you become a bit of a master at using these with one hand, left and right, and going, and then this puts the focus in, and then I normally focus it on one focus and then go around the edge, and then I start again and I go left, down, right, down, left, down, right, systematically. Then I drop up to 10 times, adjust the focus, and then do the same thing, and then adjust the focus back, because you can go through like 2 different layers of focus. And also use your best eye. It's just quite taxing, so you need to stand back and have a little bit of break and just be systematic. Just when you do this, be consistent in your movement, don't jump. What you want to know is that you've covered the whole slide with your movement. So I go around the edge, you can see the edge of the glass, and then I start again, and like I say, I go left, right, left, right, left, right, till I'm right in the back 4 corner. And then at times I'll move like this, so I'll go turn, stop, still, look, and then focus your eye and try and spot any movement at all, any quick movement. Parasites normally move quick, but they move. Fluke, you might see old fluke that have just died or trapped in there, and like I say, I just go like that, couple of seconds, no movement, again, turn, and then it will stop, and then the edge of your slide, look, and then come the other way, focus, you look, move over, still, move, still, down, and then you bring back the other way, focus, take a look, next, focus, take a look, and then like I say, at times if you see something and you think, oh, what's that, you can maybe see it blurred, you can just focus through and get it really crisp, and just keep doing that methodically. Now what I would say, normally in the past, if I have got parasites, you can normally pick up something quite quick, especially if it's fluke. So after the first fish, I got a bit of a flavour. I thought, well, there's absolutely nothing, not even one fluke. You normally pick up a fluke or at least something, but I didn't. So I thought, well, that's a good sign. My hunch is probably right. But I did another fish and did a third fish. It is stressful. It's stressful for the koi keeper doing it, and it's stressful for the fish. There's no doubt about that. They don't like being put upside down. This one was okay, but you're just worried about them jumping out and all sorts. So I did 3, so that's a third. I'm not going to do any more. I think that's enough. I've got a good sample with that. You could keep going and going. I've been on this for a good hour now with nine samples. So yeah, for me, I've gone through what I can with them. The flashing thankfully has calmed down, so hopefully it's just kind of pond syndrome. I just the new water and stuff like that, I've kind of hopefully eliminated everything. What I did notice though, because when I first put some fish in, the feeder was set up, and it was set up to feed about 6 times a day. Now anyone that's got one of them feeders, on setting 1 it does dump quite a lot of water in, which is a bit of a pain in the butt actually. So unless you've got a lot of fish and you feed a lot, that feeder is no good to you, because it just don't drop micro amounts, if that makes sense. So anyway, I got them all fish in, but after the first night, when I just left the filter to do its thing, I noticed there was absolutely, I'm not kidding, there was a good handful of uneaten food in that pod. So I dumped all the water off, cleaned it all, gave it a dumping and stuff like that, and so far now I've took a feed off or 2, and the water is circulating in a better manner. It must have been dropping through and getting straight down into the bottom drain without the fish even touching it. So that's sorted now. But even then, even at that, in its worst state, me leaving it for its kind of cycle and stuff, the ammonia wasn't that great. It was still like 0.3. It's not really changed that much. Fluctuated a little bit, but not massively higher, which is, you would think it would go massively higher. But I have been putting in Bacto Plus as well. So yeah, hopefully it was just a bit of pond syndrome, and there wasn't, and something's just irritated them. What? I don't know. Answers on a postcard. If you've got any ideas, I thought, could it have been the liner? Maybe, I don't know. Do they treat it with some sort of chemical which might annoy them, piss them off? I don't know. I didn't wipe it down and clean it. Maybe I should have done. So anyone that has got a pool or is using a line or anything, maybe you should wash it down first. But it did get to half full and I had to drain it down because of the leak, didn't I? So I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't jump the gun. I've done all the checks as I've just gone through now. They seem happy enough. I'm a bit more content now. I'm still pissed off that I lost the Karashigoi. I've changed my little, what's it called, profile picture. I've done my own little graphic. Just called it, you know, Koi Kicks by Kent at the bottom. Instead of Kent's Koi Kicks, just Koi Kicks now. I think it's a bit more snappy. So yeah, and it sticks out a bit. I like what I did there while I was lying in bed the other night. So, hope you're all okay. Still gutted, the Karashigoi is a goner. Oh, gutted, man. But anyway, finish on the fish. If you've already subscribed, brilliant. Thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. It's mega. Thank you. If you've not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button, anybody. You know, it's just that quick like, just to show your appreciation, or just acknowledge that you're there. For someone that does YouTube, it really is nice to just see that feedback, you know. Because sometimes you feel like you're just doing this on your own and the only one that's enjoying it. So on that note, I've just seen a koi flash. Let's just watch him. Might have been that one. What's that one? There you go. That is what I'm talking about. So you imagine that, but the other day, most of them are doing it. And I'm talking a lot. So, see, this is where it gets you thinking. Shall I grab that koi and get it out and scrape it? No, I'll see. I might have another session the other day. I've had enough now. I've been in here a good hour and a half looking at these scrapes, this scope, and it gets your eyes going. So hopefully I might just trickle in some more clay in every day. And I think I've just got to be patient now and just let the pond do its cycle. I think even though the K1 was very mature before, it was obviously sat here for 3 days, 4 days while doing the pond, and I kept trickling water in, but obviously I reckon that the media has probably took a massive hit. So yeah, thanks for watching. Oh, one last thing, that bottom tray, I've replaced it. I had an older one that with holes in the bottom, and I wanted an overspill because it was on the other pond, but this one, I thought the one with holes in the bottom would suit, so I put that one in. Oh well, this is just dropping some food, look. Have a look at these. It's interesting to see at the timing. There's a fish coming over to it. And feed. That's the sinking stuff. I've sold them now. I've sold a couple on eBay, so I've got no more of them for sale now, so they're gone. But that's just what that does. Just drops them like that over a period of 6 hours. It's a dead simple timer. So it just drops them now, every little bit. And then this one, once that's done after a few hours, this will pick up, this follows on after about a couple of hours after this one's done. So, see you on the next one. Good bugger.